The seed that slept. Once upon a time, in a quiet little village bordered by rolling fields, there was a farmer. He wasn't just any farmer, though. He was a dreamer. Every morning, even before the sun kissed the horizon, he would walk his land, humming soft songs to the earth. This was the place where life grew, where seeds whispered their promises underground. Well, one spring day, he held a single small seed in his hands. It didn't look like much, tiny, fragile, unremarkable. But to the farmer, it held endless possibility. He imagined the tall, majestic tree that could grow from this humble beginning. He gently planted it in the soil, covering it with care, and whispered, "The world awaits you." Little did he know this seed had its own story to tell. Days passed, then weeks. Every morning, the farmer would rush to the little patch of dirt, hoping to see the first signs of life. But the soil stared blankly back, offering nothing. Doubt began to creep into his mind like shadows at dusk. Had the seed failed? Was the soil too dry? Was the sun not warm enough? He watered the ground more frequently, sometimes twice a day. He removed weeds with military precision and even sat beside the spot, watching as if sheer willpower would summon a sprout. But still nothing. Day after day, the silence of the seed remained. The farmer's frustration grew. "Why isn't this working? Every other seed I've planted has sprouted by now." His voice echoed in the stillness of the field. The hope he once carried began to fade, replaced by an urge to give up. More than once he picked up his spade, ready to dig into the soil and toss the failed seed aside. And yet something stopped him. Maybe it was the quiet whisper of the wind, carrying advice he didn't yet understand. Maybe it was the memory of a season when other crops had taken longer to bloom, but thrived in time. Whatever it was, it held his hand long enough for him to decide, "I'll wait just a little longer." Patience, however, wasn't easy. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. He stopped visiting the patch every morning and let life take its course. The farmer was learning something without consciously realizing it. Patience wasn't about doing nothing. It was about trusting the process when results were nowhere to be seen. One crisp morning, as the farmer was walking his field, something caught his eye. A glimmer of green peeked out from the soil where the seed had been planted. He crouched down, barely breathing, afraid the small sprout might vanish if he moved too quickly. But it was real. Over the following days, the sprout grew taller, more robust. Slowly but surely, it transformed into a young sapling, and the farmer's pride grew alongside it. This wasn't just any tree, it was strong in a way that was different. As seasons passed, the sapling developed into a towering tree. Its roots gripped the earth with a quiet kind of determination, stronger than any other tree. Its trunk stood proud, weathering every storm the skies threw its way. The tree wasn't just a tree anymore, it was a symbol of resilience, patience, and trust. The farmer looked up at its branches one evening as twilight painted the world in gold and thought, "I almost gave up on you." What a mistake that would have been. The experience changed him, not just as a farmer, but as a person. He began to see the parallels between the seed and life itself. How often do we, like the farmer, expect growth to happen right away? How often do we measure success by instant results, unaware of the quiet, essential work happening beneath the surface? This story, the farmer realized, wasn't just about him. It was about anyone who has ever felt frustrated while waiting for their hard work to pay off, anyone tempted to walk away from something because they can't see what's coming. Years later, travelers and villagers alike would stop to rest in the shade of the towering tree. The farmer would smile, telling them its story. How it was once just a seed that seemed to do nothing, how he almost gave up, and how incredible growth was happening all along, just out of sight. It didn't take long for the story to spread across the region. People began to call it the seed that slept, though the farmer always corrected them with a chuckle, saying, "It wasn't sleeping, it was getting ready." On one particular evening, standing before his tree, the farmer decided to share the tale far and wide. As he would tell his children and neighbors, "The seed taught me this: growth happens in its own time, not ours. Be patient and trust the process, even when nothing seems to be happening. That's when the roots are forming. That's when the foundation is being built, and that's the most important part of the journey. The story of the seed that slept is a reminder for the digital age where lives move fast, notifications buzz constantly, and we demand instant achievements. The world celebrates visible success, but quiet preparation often goes unnoticed. Whether you're working on a personal goal, nurturing a relationship, starting a business, or simply finding your way, remember, the invisible work matters. Trust the process, give yourself time, and believe that what's meant to grow will flourish when the moment is right. Just like the seed that rooted itself deeply before becoming the strongest tree. This is your sign. You're not failing, you're preparing. Let the story of the farmer and his patient seed remind you of that. This is your sign. You're not failing, you're preparing.